The addition of the optional inventory module with CenterPoint allows the user to set up both sales items and inventory items for the items that they want to include on customer invoices. The different types of items that you can set up with the inventory module included are service items with labor cost, non-tracked items, inventory items, serialized items, and lotted items. This video is going to concentrate on non-tracked items. Non-tracked items are items that you sell or want to include on your invoice that are not service, and they also are not items that you are keeping an inventory of. So likely they were, if it was something that was purchased, it's something that was expensed at the time of the purchase. To set up a non-tracked item or to really set up any of those inventory items, we would go to Setup and Inventory and Items. Okay, I've got a list of items that we already include here. And one of the things that we often do in our company is we purchase some promotional items. And when somebody purchases something like a bike package, or buys 3 bikes from us or something like that, we may go ahead and include a promotional item for that. So our non-tracked item is going to be something that we don't actually sell. It's going to have a $0 sales amount on it, but it is something that we want to include on our invoice to show that it was included really in the packing slip as well. So we're going to go ahead and set up an item for it. So our item is a promotional bike light, and we're going to go ahead and give it the abbreviation promo and then bike light. So any promotional item we set up, we're going to begin with promo at the beginning here. And I'm going to go ahead and say that this was a promotional bike light. And if we want to give it a description, we can go ahead and give it a description. We could say that it's a rechargeable bike light and charger. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK on that. Anytime I want to see that additional description, all I have to do is click on the button again for additional description, and it would allow me to view and or edit that description. We can also go ahead and change the description at the time of data entry when we're including this on an invoice. Okay, we're going to choose our type, and this type is going to be a non-tracked item because that's the type that we're talking about right now. And I've gone ahead and I've created a sales group for my promotional items. Now there's a separate video on how to set up sales groups, but I'm going to select the sales group that I set up, and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to edit it. Since when we purchase promotional items, we put them to an expense account called promotional items, and it's a selling expense. We're going to go ahead and just set my accounts to that same account. So everything's going to go right back to this promotional items expense. We don't include any commissions on these promotional items, so I've gone ahead and left that blank. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save there. By going ahead and choosing a sales group, when I get to the Accounts tab, you'll see that those items that were part of the sales groups or those sales accounts are going to default to this Accounts tab over here. We're then going to choose our sales tax category. And since these items are $0, they're really going to not have any sales tax generated anyways. So we're going to put these in the general category. And we can say that they're non-taxable, or we could go ahead and leave it as taxed because mine are going to be $0. Okay, so this sales tax category determines how taxes are going to be calculated for this item. The setup of sales tax categories is an additional video that can be viewed. Okay, we're going to choose whether or not this is a current, discontinued, or obsolete item. I'm just setting it up for the first time, so it is a current item for us. If we wanted to, for our packing slips, we can tell the system what the weighting stock unit of measure is, and ours is going to be 0.35 is going to be our weight stocking unit. Okay, we can, if we go ahead and include commissions for the sales of this item, we can choose the commissions right here. Again, commissions is a separate video for viewing if you want to learn how to set up commissions. This item is non-taxable, and since it winds up being a $0 item, there's also no trade discount that applies over here. So we're going to leave both of those unchecked. Okay, there is a unit of measure. We want to say that we're selling them by the each. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and choose each. Okay, actually we're not selling them, we're giving them away. We could put in a suggested price. We could put in what the unit cost per each item was. Okay, since we're selling them at 0, we're giving them away, we're going to leave suggested price at 0, and our unit cost we can put in there for our reference. Over here to the right is the ability to go ahead and link a picture file to this so that that picture can be displayed when you bring up this item. To go ahead and link a picture or display a picture of this item, we could link to that file first. So I went ahead and included this on my desktop here, and this is an image file of this bike light. So I've gone ahead and linked to it. If I want to display it here, I'm going to click display, and then it can actually display it. It's going to come up a little distorted in this little box. So that's why I generally probably don't display it. Okay, but I could go ahead and include it, and if I wanted to see it, I could just click on that link, and then it would actually bring it up on my machine. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that over here so you can see what that bike light looked like then. So we went ahead and included a picture of it that we can click on. That's optional, obviously. Down here in the bottom right is an additional notes box where you could put in additional notes about this item that you want to include on some reports, but more importantly, it's here for your users to have a place to go to and take a look at the notes and maybe see if there's some additional information about that particular item. Okay, on the accounts tab, you'll see that from my sales group promotional items, we've gone ahead and moved over those accounts that were defaulted for the sales and returns and allowances. And we're going to actually just choose the same expense account for that as well. So all of my accounts are going to go to the same item. Basically, it's all going to go to promotional items expense. Okay, now normally if you were actually selling this item, you would want this to be your sales account and you would want this to be your returns and allowances account. On the pricing tab, of course, this item is a free item, so I'm not going to include any pricing on it, but you can see here that I have 3 different pricing levels because I've chosen the price method of fixed pricing with no quantity breaks. Okay, you could do fixed pricing with quantity breaks. So there's different pricing matrices that can be set up. There are videos on those different pricing matrices, so you can view those videos about pricing. But right now you can see that I have 3 levels. The reason that I have 3 levels of pricing is because one of my preferences under File and Preferences, and I'm going to bring it over to this screen, and underneath Items is the option to go ahead and define how many pricing levels you had. So you might only have 1, you might have 2. We have 3, so we've included 3 in the box there, and then we've given each one of these a name. Now, normally when you set a number there, it would just default to price level 1, price level 2, price level 3. I've altered the names to call them bronze, gold, and platinum. So I'm going to go ahead and click save there. And normally if you were selling this item, you would go ahead and set up what the price is for each one of these different price levels. But since this is a promotional item, we're going to go ahead and leave it at 0. The tabs for allotted serialized, units of measure, and purchase information are grayed out. Those are only necessary for actual inventory items. But the other information tab is a tab that you can access. And on the other information tab, there's a place here where you can go ahead and tell the system if there are additional custom fields that are going to be included for this particular item. Well, we don't have any custom fields right now, so I can show you where you would go to go ahead and set up those custom fields. Once again, you would go to File and Preferences, and this came up on another screen for me, so I'm going to bring over the screen that would come up. This is the Preferences screen, and I'm going to go to Items and then go to Item Custom Fields. And on the Database tab here, you can define up to 5 custom fields and then tell the system, give them a name, and then tell the system whether or not they're used or required. And then what order you want them to come up in as well. Okay, and then those custom fields would be able to be used or selected over here on the custom fields screen. You can choose whether or not you're substituting this item for another item. So that substitutions can only be other non-tracked or other inventory items. So I could select from other inventory items to substitute this for. We're not going to substitute our items. So we're going to go ahead and just click Save on that. And that is setting up a non-tracked item.